Welcome back to part 3 of our interview with Tom Shieh, where he tells us how he sees technology moving forward, in addition to the 3 business lessons he took away from racing rally cars. Keep it right here because part 3 is coming at you.
Welcome to this edition of Peak Performance Podcast with your host, Thor Conklin. Thor will be sharing the necessary tools, strategies, and psychology you'll need to become a peak performer in any area of your life or business.
Thor Conklin here. We give you the tricks, the tips, the tools, the strategy, the technology, and the psychology peak performers use in order to get more done and execute at the highest level. If you know what to do but struggle with getting it all done, or simply want to raise your game to the next level, this podcast is for you. Sit back and enjoy. Now, I know recently you decided to go out with a bunch of guys and you flew to Seattle and you raced race cars for the weekend, rally cars.
Yeah.
I saw this and I'm like, I'm in. Tom,
Yeah.
how do I get there? Where is it? Sign me up. So thanks for sending that information, number one. It is on my list for 2018. But here's the really cool part, other than just driving around and having fun and kicking your buddy's butt in the car. You listed a list of amazing takeaways, experiences, and things that you learned. Share those with us.
Yeah, it was. We went to Snoqualmie in Washington for 3 days. Drove around some all-wheel drive Subarus at a 315-acre facility, which is just beautiful. So rally racing is unlike just driving on the streets. It is dirt and rocks and pebbles and sand and rain and water and tarmac, and so you really have to learn to deal with these different elements at very high speeds. And you're not driving an automatic, you're driving a stick shift. So you have the clutch, you have the brake, you have the throttle, you have the emergency brake that you would sometimes pull to help steer the car. And so I listed a number of different things that I learned. I actually, what I posted on Facebook was really a abridged version. The original version was much longer and had more lessons, but I'll share a couple of them here, and then I'm happy to elaborate. But one of the first things that I realized was just vision. And I realized that when you're going 60 miles an hour down this dirt path and you see these trees coming up and you see this wind, this turn, you got to turn very, very quickly. And not only do you want to turn quickly, you want to do it in such a way that's safe. And I'm up there with 13 of my other entrepreneurial buddies. And so we're talking trash. We know we're being timed. There's a little bit of ego and pride going on where we're talking about, whether we can drive or not, or who's the best driver. And so you have all these parameters and all these considerations, but you want to also be safe. So there's a ditch, you're driving 60 miles an hour. One of the things I've realized and that became like crystal clear to me was to have vision. My vision and focus needs to be where I want to go and not what I'm trying to avoid. So in this case, you see this ditch, it's much easier than said, but I assure you, for the average person that's driving at high speed, you're looking at that ditch to say, oh no, I do not want to hit that. I don't want to hit that. I don't want to hit that. I don't want to hit that. As opposed to saying, where is the path? Which angle do I need to take? Where do I need to hit the brake? Where do I need to turn and focus on that? I've had a couple times where in that experience over the last 3 days where the instructor literally had to turn my head. He was like, Tom, you are not looking over there. This is where you want to go, literally turning my head. And it was just this great analogy of life and in my business and my marriage and my health, that in order for me to go where I want to go, like my eyes and my head, I have to consciously look at those things. And as I turn that and my neck follows, the rest of the body will coordinate and be in sync to help me achieve that. But if I keep staring at that ditch, it's inevitable. And so I think, for a lot of areas of life, that's such a tremendous lesson, because without vision, people perish. And so if you don't have a vision for your financial, business, relational, career, spiritual, any area of life that you deem important, if there's not a vision of who you want to be, what that would look like, then you're really spinning your wheels.
And have somebody in the car with you that can turn your head. Don't go on this journey alone.
Exactly. And that's kind of leads to the second part that I wanted to share, is that there were parts of the driving experience where the emergency brake was needed. And so when you're driving and you pull that emergency brake, a lot of times it'll help you drift, help you turn corners, help you maneuver and control much more accurately and precisely than just it's emergency brake. So you're not using it all the time, but there are times where that's very, very important. And it just reminded me of what one of my mentors one time said to me was, Tom, who in your life has the ability to tell you no? And, we don't like being told no. Nowadays, particularly where we're filled in an environment where there's a lot of, awareness and self-development and positivity and, say yes and say yes. We really don't like people around us telling us no. I mean, we immediately call them, haters or naysayers or people who, are limited in their thinking. But I've realized in life that you need to have at least one or two people. The further you want to go in life, the more that you need people around you to speak truth. And it may not be your truth, it may not be the truth, but you need to have these different opinions around you and somebody to pull the emergency brake when they feel like your life is going out of control. And so for me, I'm blessed to have a couple of people in my life that has that power and that ability. And I'm very, very grateful whenever they speak and share certain perspectives, because I know that their intentions are based out of love and based out of genuine concern.
Nice. And even though your car has an emergency brake and it's very useful for some things, make sure you're not driving around with the emergency brake on. A lot of you are trying to go fast and you got the brake on.
Exactly.
I love this. So you give an analogy of it. I like have another one. I love this. Keep going.
The other analogy is just being present. I work at home. I've got 3 beautiful kids, ages 10, 3, and 4. At any given time, one of them is trying to get my attention. And so I find myself at home a lot of times thinking about work. When I'm spending time with family, I'm thinking about work. And when I'm at work, I'm thinking about family. When I was driving, my mind and senses were so overloaded. I mean, I was, I'm using both feet to drive. I'm using both hands. I'm listening. I'm smelling the clutch that I'm burning. I'm being aware of the environment and how the car is moving. I'm trying to keep a safe distance. There are so many inputs, and I just realized that there is no way that I can perform at a peak level if I am not completely focused and present in the moment. And it was a great kind of a revelation, a realization for me of how often I am just distracted. I'm like this computer with like 14 extra unnecessary processes going on in the background, as opposed to just being all where I'm at. And there's this power there's power and there's usefulness in multitasking, but there's also tremendous power and usefulness to just have a singular focus to get what you need to get done. Particularly in this day and age, I think we're so overwhelmed. We're drowning in information and content, but we lack that implementation. So it's not so much of what you know, it's what you do with what you know. And so for me, being present means, being fully aware of the task at hand and seeing that through completion.
I love that. It reminds me that the front windshield is 6 feet wide and your rear view mirror is only 6 inches. There's a reason.
Exactly. And in our vehicles, they actually took out the rear view mirror.
Oh, interesting.
We didn't even have it all. So it was like when I saw that, it was like, yeah, that's exactly how it should be. I mean, I have some side mirrors that could be a reference, but I need to be focused and ahead.
Yeah. The path is ahead, not behind.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Love that. Any more?
Yeah. I wanted to go super fast. That was my tendency. Again, we had talked a little bit of trash about who could drive the best, and being the only Asian driver out there, I felt like it was my opportunity, and it was my responsibility to show them that the Asians could drive.
And there was drifting involved as well, right? So you felt like you had a responsibility.
Intentional drifting. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
right.
And so, I wanted to go fast. I stepped on the throttle. I pushed it. Naturally, I have I'm okay with risk. I've got a pretty good comfort level with being uncertain and having risk. And so I wanted to go fast. And one of the things that my co-driver just kept telling me, my instructor just kept telling me was, hey, Tom, speed will come. Speed will come when you master the basics, right? I need you to work on technique. I need you to work on precision. I need you to work on the basics. You want to keep going fast, but once you get the basics down, speed is a byproduct. And, I said, oh, yeah, whatever. And so I kept going. And then I realized, at some point, I just realized that, hey, I'm trying to, at the sake of trying to look good or feel good or meet this need for speed that I have, I'm actually developing a lot of bad habits. So it goes back to business, where I shared earlier. Not all growth is equal growth. I mean, you can have cancerous growth, growing and it's multiplying fast, but it's not sustainable. It's not healthy. And so it was really a call for me to see, like, return to the basics. Like, I want to do all these terrific things with my kids. I want to start businesses with each and every one of them. I want to, teach them guitar. But am I even present? Like, am I praying with them at night? Am I reading them stories? I have desires for a company to be, at X level. But am I really even caring about the person that had texted me last night about some questions or ideas that they had? So it's kind of a reminder of stewardship and to master the basics. And when you master the basics, you can really go much, much, much faster.
Yeah, and your mentor also likes to use the phrase speed kills. Make sure you've got the basics down. Make sure that your business is operating the way it needs to operate, and then grow on a firm, strong foundation. Because if not, if you're out of control and you're going fast, somebody's going to get hurt.
Exactly.
Well, Tom, how can the audience get a hold of you?
Probably the best way is I'm pretty active on Facebook. So facebook.com/tom.shea. It's probably the easiest way. I mean, I'm also on LinkedIn and Twitter. I've got my own website, tomshea.com. If you're looking for me, there are various ways to find me. And so I'm normally pretty good about responding. And
you can check out the cool photos about the racing.
Yeah.
And, and the last name is spelled Shieh.
Yes, sir.
Tom, thank you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say just like it's spelled.
Just
No, I had a friend ask me how to spell Shieh, and I said it says Shieh, I before E, except after C, and he was like, yeah, right, like that applies to Chinese last name.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. I am so glad to have you on. I really appreciate you being vulnerable and sharing your story because, look, there's somebody else out there that is going through something very similar. And we so often hear all the great things, everything that's going well with everyone. And life is life, and stuff comes up. And I love the fact that you recognized it, you are growing and learning through it. And knowing you, man, you are going to be back killing it. So,
yes, sir.
Thank you. I'm glad to call you as a friend. And next year, man, on the track. I'm not Asian, but I like to go fast.
Very good. Sounds good. Yeah, like you said, if I can, if there's anybody listening, I could support. Just be a listening ear, or I could point you in the right way based on my previous experiences. I'd love to support and serve in that way.
I appreciate it. Hey, one thing before you go, I want to ask you, since you're in the technology space, what do you see going forward? If you were a brand new entrepreneur and you wanted to play in the internet area, What are the opportunities? We know we can't use Amazon and oversold anymore. What's the
Overstock? Yep.
Oh yeah. What's overstock? What did I say? Oversell.
Oversold.
Oversell. Yeah. Hey, maybe that's a website. Oversell.
Yeah.
Overstock. Where's the new sector to play in?
You know, the pace of technology is moving so fast, and so by the time I say something,
Yeah.
And this podcast gets out, you know, and other people pick it up and listen to it, things have shifted already. I mean, technologies and life cycles for businesses are just being so quickly changed, and so I think it's just being adaptive. What I've focused on right now are really sectors that are, like I mentioned earlier in background screening, where they're previously predominantly a lot of brick and mortar type of businesses, but they haven't had a lot of technology infused into it. And so there are still a number of different industries where, if you take a look, where there's heavily dependence upon people. I think those are often indicators that in the next 10, 20 years, you'll see significant shifts through AI and through technology and the way people are using mobile phones and technology. So I would say, if there's somebody who's interested, look, just observe what are the inefficiencies and things that are requiring a lot of human time, and how can we make things a lot more efficient. So
like trying to hail a cab, calling a cab. Maybe
exactly.
we had an app where it said, "Hey, I need a car to take
like
me
that.
somewhere."
Yeah. Or maybe having homes that are often not filled, and maybe finding efficiencies in there. There's tremendous inefficiencies in our tax code and in accounting. There is some work that some friends of mine are doing around the legal space, the use of attorneys, and whether AI and some different processes could help expedite that.
That is coming.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, terrific. Thank you, Tom.
Excellent. My pleasure. Thank you for your terrific questions. It's a privilege to be on the show.
Thank you so much for listening today. I really do appreciate your time, and I hope you found today's show valuable. If you would like to receive these shows automatically to your phone or to your computer, simply go to iTunes and subscribe. After listening to several of the shows, if you're so inclined, please leave us a 5-star rating, as this helps us reach additional people and spread the message. If you're truly committed to taking your life to the next level and doing whatever it takes to become a peak performer, but something's holding you back, something is blocking your way, and you just can't seem to figure out what it is, send me an email to info@thorconklin.com, and I'd be more than happy to get on the phone with you. We'll schedule a 15-minute discovery call. No obligation, no cost. I absolutely love to hear from the listeners, and if there's something I can do to help, I'd be more than happy to do that. Also, if you found something of great interest in today's show and you want to share that with your friends and family, simply go to my Facebook page, Thor Conklin, click on the episode, hit the share button, and share it on your page. You can follow me at Twitter @ThorConklin. The website is thorconklin.com. We're constantly adding new free resources, discussing additional tricks, tips, tools, and strategies on how to be a peak performer. Remember, I try to keep these episodes short so you can listen to them during dot time, doing other things, commuting, driving, walking, working out. Decide to be a peak performer in all that you do. And until tomorrow, have an absolutely amazing day.